Two outs, two quick outs for Zach Locke in his first inning of work. We mentioned him before. An Angels fan out of Los Alamitos, California, likes to model his game after former Angels pitcher Jared Weaver here in the top of the sixth inning as he quickly got the first two T-bolts he faced to the first a ground out to the shortstop Velazquez, the second a fly ball to Thomas out there in left field, Dale Hauser and Marcus Brown. That brings up the designated hitter Justin Carboni. Struck out and reached on an error. So 0 for 2, I guess, technically. Or 0 for 1?
Well, reach on an error is as an out, still counts as an out, I guess, on the line score. But I'm going to talk about Locke here. Look at this delivery, just kind of funky, kind of slows it down a little bit and then fires it in. Maybe if we later in the season we get more camera angles, we can show you how funky it actually is.
Yeah, definitely an interesting little timing dynamic there. A 4-pitch arsenal for Locke: fastball, slider, changeup, and curveball. 5'10", 160. Defensive player of the year his freshman year in high school. Second team all league as you see that slowed leg kick and fast arm whip. And he gets the count back even at 2-2. Again, 2 outs here in the top of the sixth inning.
So Locke and I think the two guys I'm going to watch the most are the perfect game guys, Locke and Baker. Those two guys that pitched today, and those two guys are going to continue to pitch for the remainder of the season. Now Locke settling in here in a bit of a high leverage situation, up by 2 in the sixth inning as he delivers that one. Nice frame try by Nip, but he couldn't get it into the zone to the liking of the home plate umpire.
Yeah, decent velo from Locke as well. Scouting report tells us he reaches as high as 89 with that fastball and certainly looks it so far as he sends the count full here with 2 outs. And the payoff pitch coming here in the top of the sixth. And misses outside for ball 4 to walk Justin Carboni down to first base and turn the order over for Brian Cordell and the Silver Spring Tacoma T-Bolts.
A great turn at bat there from Justin Carboni, who's had a couple of interesting at-bats tonight, the error obviously and then the strikeout. But it's settled into a very nice evening here at Povich Field. Clear skies as far as you can see. Fans are loving it here. It's nice to see fans in the stands as well. So Nip takes that frame there, as you can see. But Locke, we'll talk about him again a little bit. He's got all the talent in the world once again. Long Beach State, another dirtbag on this roster. And, the Beach are going to be welcome to have him when he comes to the school. I believe he's a rising sophomore. Didn't get to play much. Didn't get to play at all, actually, for this team.
Yeah, one of 3 Long Beach State players making the long trip cross-country here to Bethesda. Can't say that I understand the decision to go from Long Beach weather to humid and buggy Bethesda, but don't want to disparage my own hometown that much. And I'm sure Zach Locke will get something out of his trip east as breaking ball misses a little low there.
So Locke, the stretch delivery is a lot different than his full windup. As you can see, he kind of rifles it in there in the set when he takes it a little bit slowly from the windup.
So just to confirm, the batter is not Brian Cordell. It is number 27 for Silver Spring Tacoma. Unfortunately, we do not have a 27 on our roster as Nip fires down. Able to field it on the bounce is Velazquez. Gets the tag down. Did not look happy with that safe call from the umpire. No instant replay here, unlike Major League Baseball. And so 2 outs and a runner in scoring position now for the T-Bolts.
Yeah, and we'll get on who this batter is in a little bit. We'll send one of our SIDs over to figure it out as he swings and misses on that one.
Maybe we won't need to.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, there's the strikeout there as the point becomes moot on that play, and the side is retired.
So whoever number 27 is, he swings and misses at strike number 3 from Zach Locke. First swinging strikeout of the day for Locke, and he ends the 6th inning with the runner on second. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Big Train still leading 5-3. Welcome back here to the bottom of the 6th inning. Sun has set. A little pink creeping out there in right field. A beautiful night. A little muggy as we near the 9 o'clock hour here at Povich Field. Ben Bobek and Tyler Gallo here for Big Train TV. 5-3 is the Bethesda lead. Looking to add to it here in the bottom of the frame. And Tyler, besides for that one big inning back in the third, Big Train bats have been pretty quiet today. What's been your big takeaway so far through 5.5?
Well, it's looking like they got all the runs they needed in that inning, but certainly the later innings can get a little bit crazier out there, as we've seen in many games long past since. But, you know, with a new pitcher on the mound for this team, I believe that's going to be Nate Beal for this team, not Bradley Beal. Nate Beal on the mound there for the T-Bolts, and he's going to try to do what his counterparts have done for the last 2 innings and put up zeros. But just one thing I've seen from this team is they didn't really work the counts last inning. They kind of fired on all cylinders and just got 3 quick outs. And they're going to try to get back into it here as Pepe starts the inning off.
Rocco Pepe already on the all-name team for the Ripken Summer League. Chops this one towards short. Can't beat out the throw, but will be safe on the fielding error by the first baseman for Silver Spring, Tacoma Marcus Brown. Off the tip of his glove. Couldn't even snow cone that. A beautiful backhanded stop in the shortstop hole. But Pepe reaches on the error by the third baseman. The second of the day by Marcus Brown. And the fantastic throw from Dylan Oxier goes to waste as, again, Pepe reaches. And swinging through that one is Austin Gauthier, second baseman today for the Big Train.
Yeah, the official score is going to give that one an error on that play, and it was. I mean, he threw it offline over the glove.
Second error of the day by our scoreboard for the T-Bolts. 1 so far for the Big Train. Way back in the 4th inning. Throwing error by the man at the plate right now, Austin Gauthier. As he takes ball 2 there, 2-1. So as I was trying to say, Rocco Pepe, certainly one of the better names in the Ripken League, as Gauthier fouls this one into the very top of the backstop here.
I mean, we remarked on it as soon as we got here was his name, and it's just a great one to have, especially if you're batting in the top of the lineup, but he is one of the guys in the middle half of the order.
Plenty of power in the lower half as he scampers back to avoid the throwback. Pepe heads down. Throw down from the catcher in time. Pepe will be caught stealing after reaching on the error. Can't advance the extra 90 to second base and is the first out of the inning on a well-thrown ball by Neff.
Running wild. That's all I can say about this team right now is running wild, and that's exactly what they're going to do all summer. They don't care if they get caught stealing. I mean, they're up by 2 right now, certainly closer than it was before, but there's a walk there for Gauthier, who's had a weird day in field and at the plate.
Yeah, certainly not a standard trip to the ballpark for Austin Gauthier so far, but he'll take that 90 feet down to the first base side. As I'll have to correct myself, the error assessed there to the shortstop, Dylan Oxier, the throwing error rather than a fielding error. My personal assessment probably would have been as I originally had it, but I'm not the official scorer, so I will defer to the gentleman a few seats down from us here in the Arch McDonald press box at Povich Field, to Kyle Velazquez. Arch McDonald, one of 2 gentlemen to be honored with the naming of the press box. George Solomon, the other man of distinction who has his name across the door here. Two great contributors to the game of baseball, and honored to be working from the box that bears both their names as strike two in there on Kyle Velasquez.
That was a interesting call. That looked to be outside to me from up here. I mean, that's why we're up in the booth and not out on the field. But that one looked certainly like it bent outside of the zone. But generous call there from the home plate umpire.
Throw back to check on Gauthier at first. Interesting move here from the pitcher. Of course, a righty doesn't have that easy check back that most lefties have in their arsenal as he comes set from the stretch. Hard throw over the top, swinging and missing is Velasquez to go down on strikes for the second time today.
Really an interesting pickoff move, too, from the pitcher, like you mentioned. Just a snap pick, really. As a righty, you got to have a good one. And that one certainly almost caught him napping.
So that will bring up Brady Gump, the right fielder, as another check back on Gauthier over at first base.
Got to keep him close. Always got to keep him close.
Yeah, Beal certainly keeping an eye on him, and he delivers the first pitch. This one heading straight into the Miller Long grandstand. Takes a hard carom off a guardrail. Bounce all the way back down towards the plate. Certainly a weird bounce there off the side railing. Somebody got a souvenir, though.
Near one of our writers, Quentin Corpuel down there. So
head on a swivel, Quentin.
Nasty hop, but it's going to get applause from the stands, as I believe a kid probably got it or something like that. Nasty breaker, by the way, there from the pitcher Beal.
Yeah, Beal has that really kind of, I don't know how the best way to describe it, almost catapult motion. Stays steady and then really throws that upper body, using the momentum to get some extra velo on that pitch. And it can result in some interesting break, like you mentioned. And he's ahead 0-2 here on Brady Gump.
Maybe not a 12-6 curveball per se, but definitely close. That thing was bending right into the zone.
Here's the 0-2 with 2 outs. Chopped down the third base line. Fielded by Miller. He'll throw over to first in time to Brown for out number 3. So Big Train goes down with a whimper here in the bottom of the 6th. 1 runner left on base and a 2-run lead for Bethesda still as we head to the top of the 7th. 5-3 Bethesda. Top of the 7th here. Zach Locke back out on the bump for his second inning of work. In between innings, we're trying to figure out who his delivery reminded us of. He has said that he likes to mellow his game a little bit, again, after Jared Weaver, the former Angels pitcher. Ted Lilly, another L.A. guy down in the Dodger blue with a little bit of that stop and start motion, as we'll get to see a little bit of how Locke likes to work that tempo as he faces off with the first T-Bolt hitter of this frame. It'll be Zach Martin, number 17, in for Miller. Yeah, maybe a little Johnny Cueto-ish. Producer Aaron in my ear with that one.
There's a lot of guys you can sort of talk to. I mean, definitely not Jared Weavers, who was kind of a wide turnaround.
Yeah.
But like another stop and start guy in Dodger blue, I mean, not even close to this motion, is Clayton Kershaw.
Right.
And then there's a guy on the Mets, Joey Lucchesi, who has something like that as well. But his is not mimicable at all.
I mean, Cueto definitely comes to mind with how Locke is trying to play with tempo, right? I mean, that's definitely something Cueto is able to adjust, whether going super fast or really slowing down the steps between his windup.
And a guy that I can sort of see in that one too is another guy that likes to play with tempo is Marcus Stroman. He likes to stop.
You're just going to get as many Mets in as you can here, right?
When someone reminds me of someone, I'm obviously going to say it. And when the majority of your watching time goes to the New York Mets, you're going to remark on something that looks like this guy's batting stance looks kind of like Brandon Nimmo's. Obviously not even close to his, but it looks kind of like.
As he, little check swing there, and it's the second strikeout of the day for Zach Locke as he sends Zach Martin down on strikes.
Yeah, I'm not sure Brandon Nimmo would have missed that bat on a pitch either. Notorious guy that works the whole count.
Works the whole count.
Runs to first base on a walk. You know how it is. Which is weird to me that people don't like that or just think that's weird. Like, you know.
So it's Neff in to the batter's box. Actually, not Neff. Is this Darren Miller now? Believe it's number 12 stepping into the box. Scoreboard still says 17, but 17 would be Zach Martin, who was just retired on strikes. So Darren Miller substituted out of the game for Martin, and back in here in the 3-hole as he swings at this one. The 0-1 driven to right center field. Back is Martin. He's going to watch up and watch this one go. Nothing to do for Darius Foster, but watch that one fly over the right center field. It's a solo shot for Darren Miller, and it's a 5-4 game.
And I think they've made another change on us in the outfield, but an absolute crush there from Miller. And he's had a pretty big day at the plate. And he sent that one nearly over the batter's line. It looks like Jack Cohn's back out there in center field. So not sure what they're doing with the defensive alignment today, but whatever works for Sal works. And it looks like Foster is settled back into left.
Number 4, Bamer up at the plate now for Silver Spring. What did you see there on the solo shot given up by Zach Locke?
I think it just kept going. I mean, that's really the only thing. That ball carried. It was hit high, and it certainly looked out off the bat. But he threw that ball right down Broadway, and it's not going to – you're not going to get too many batters out if you throw it down Broadway and they're sitting fastball. So I think Darren Miller is now in for Maceda. I think Zach Martin's now
Martin,
in for –
yeah. I was incorrect in who was switched in for who. Well, we're getting warmed up here. Martin was in for Maceda. Miller never left his 3-hole spot and makes the big train pay for his presence again with the solo shot to deep right center field. Looks like we already have a fan out there beyond the fence doing your job, Tyler, and shagging that home run ball for a souvenir.
That was a lot of fun yesterday. Even though I caught nothing and all of them went way over my head, it was still a lot of fun. I got to talk to a couple of guys out there. I talked to Jesse Barron in right field, just a great guy, as there's a strikeout there.
Yeah, Bryce Beamer substituted in for the other catcher, Jason Neff, and does what Neff has been doing all day and striking out. Bammer doing a little bit differently as he goes down looking. All 3 for Neff were swinging, but it's another K in that row for the T-Bolts.
Yeah, and it looks like Beamer and Beam on the or Beal on the same team. So BEA, Killer Bees, if you will. Nowhere near close to Bagwell, Biggio, and Berkman, but I guess they have their own sort of way on this team.
Or if you want to switch sports, the Pittsburgh Steelers Killer Bees as a fantastic play in the hole by Velazquez. Another attempted tag behind the back by Sean Ewell, and another narrow miss as Tommy Dunleavy will reach first safely for the second time today, able to leg out an infield single there. Don't believe that should be scored as an error, but again, I have been wrong on multiple occasions, and I'm wrong again. It's the second error of the day for the Big Train. This one charged again to Kyle Velazquez in the 6th hole out there at shortstop. Oh, 0-1 now to Dylan Oxier, the shortstop. As quick throw back. I don't think Dunleavy was necessarily expecting that. Turned, hit behind his back, trying to avoid getting hit in the face. Safe over at first. 0-1 here with 2 outs. Zach Locke trying to avoid any further damage. This one chopped back up the middle off his glove, fielded by Gauthier at second. Tried to get the tag back on Dunleavy, advancing to second, but couldn't. And it's another wacky ball up the middle off the glove of a Big Train pitcher and results in safe all around for Silver Spring Tacoma.
Yeah, that's probably going to go as an infield hit. We'll see what the official scorer calls it on that one. Interesting little hop off the glove of Locke. Could be that goes as an infield hit there, as you can see out on the scoreboard. Well, you probably can't see it on the broadcast, but we can see it here. We're closer than the camera shows.
First pitch from Locke in on Dale Hauser, misses low, ball 1. So 2 runners on, 2 outs here, and Zach Locke trying to maintain the Big Train lead here as he kicks and fires, misses outside, ball 2.
Locke, we've said this for almost every pitcher, but if he can settle down out there on the mound, maybe a mound visit could do him some good. He's given up some hard hit balls in this inning, but also has gotten 3 outs in this inning as well because of the ground out to shortstop, throw it out in the air.
Again, some good velo as this one's chopped towards the second base hole. Gauthier fields and fires over to Sean Ewell to end the inning and strand both T-Bolts runners, but they get one back. Cut this to a 1-run lead on the Darren Miller solo shot to right center field. It's time to stretch here at Shirley Povich Field. Middle of the 7th, Big Train 5, T-Bolts 4. Stretched and warmed here at Shirley Povich Field. Grant Knipp stepping into the box for his 4th plate appearance of the day. Takes a breaking ball for ball number 1 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. 5-4 again the score Big Train looking to hang on down the stretch here and get a win in their first exhibition outing of this season. They'll play tomorrow night against the Little Train, the BCC Little Train, a travel team here at Povich Field, 7 o'clock p.m. Tickets sold at the gate. If you couldn't make it tonight, we'd love to have you out here to Povich Field, as it's 2-1 now on Grant Knipp, the young catcher out of the University of Alabama.
The sky turning a nice midnight blue color out there in the outfield.
Knipp takes this one the other way. That one's got a chance, and that one is gone. Grant Knipp, a leadoff solo shot, and Big Train gets the run right back, 6-4.
And what did we say, Ben? Grant Knipp has all kinds of power, and the Train has just left the station there for Grant Knipp. Sends one almost exactly where he was hitting them in batting practice, over the right field fence, over the Big Train banner, the National Champions banner, and near that light tower, the Light Tower Power.
Oppo Boppo into the forest. He turns the roster over with a bang, and it's 6-4. Darius Foster stepping into the box now, trying to keep this run going and extend the lead even further here in the bottom of the 7th.
Foster 2 for 3 on the day. He's had a nice day at the plate.
That all-important starting point at the top of the batting order for Sal Colangelo and the Big Train.
Grant Knipp, we'll touch back on that one again as Foster takes one outside. Grant Knipp, coming from Alabama, I mean, just a big, stocky catcher behind home plate. Got nice defense, but also can hit really, really well. And we've seen it today. He's gotten on base multiple times. Didn't have to have Diego Barrett run for him this time. He ran all the way around the bases.
Yeah, easy way to not get pinch ran for is to just do it yourself. As Foster swings through that one to send the count to 1-2. 6'3", 205 for Knipp. Fills out that Big Train jersey. Louisville native. One of the top catching prospects out of the state of Kentucky down to Alabama. And showing why so far, scored on a walk and has had some great defensive stops behind the dish as well. Really showing that he could perhaps be the everyday backstop for Colangelo in his first appearance in the Big Train uniform today, as Foster fouls the 1-2 back, so we'll do it again.
Foster just fighting Beal out here on the mound. Beal gave up that home run to Knipp and now trying to do that. What he can't do here is forget about him at the plate and just throw a cookie right over the plate, because then Foster can make you pay.
Instead, he swings through strike number 3 there. The high heat gets Foster down swinging for his first strikeout of the evening. That will bring up the everyday man, Jack Cohn. Back out in center field and stepping into the box now. Was the victim of a double play the last time after reaching on a walk. And he'll look to get on base for the 3rd time today. Reached on an error way back in the 1st inning. Flew out in the 3rd. We'll see what he does here in the bottom of the 7th with 1 out. Takes this one inside, ball 1.
And in the day and the age of the strikeout in baseball all around, only 5 strikeouts thus far for Big Train batting.
Yeah, quite the differential if you look at the scorebook for the Big Train offense and the scorebook for the T-Bolts offense, as the first strike is in there on Cone. Already into double digits, 13 strikeouts for the T-Bolts today, again compared to just 5 for the Big Train. That's what Coach Colangelo preaches to his Big Train squads. Again, they change every year. It's always trying to figure out which pieces fit where. But the one thing that remains is Coach Sal is going to preach, do the little things right, as this one sails way over the head of the catcher Beamer for ball number 2. Even to count at 2-2.
In the wise words of Bob Uecker, just a bit outside.
Just a bit high. I don't think the umpire even had to duck there. It just went straight over his head. And swinging and missing right on cue, Jack Cohn with strikeout number 6 for the Big Train today, his first of the day as well.
I think that's the only time they've had back-to-back strikeouts in this game as well. Jack Cohn just fanning on that one. Not really close to that either, but
you'd be correct in that.
it's been a very good contact day at the plate in general for the Big Train as Shanyul steps in. Shanyul got that interesting high set stance. Kind of reminds me of Byron Buxton's little over the head stance he's got as he steps in there. And I mean, that's a good player to model your game after. 5 tools. Shanyul has at the plate today. You know, had a double earlier. He gave it a ride into the gap. But yeah, Byron Buxton-esque stance, if you will.
Shanyul on the day. 1 for 2, a walk way back in the first, 2 RBI double, and then eventually scored in the third as this one misses well outside again. Grounded into the double play that cost Jack Cohn his trot around the bases as well in the fifth. And with the bases clear and 2 outs here, we'll be looking to at least put the barrel to the ball. And starts off with a well hitter's count, 3-0. Last time we saw a 3-0, it was to Rocco Pepe. He got the green light to swing away. We'll see what Shanyul does here. And he takes strike 1 straight down the pipe.
Yeah, and, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how these players are called for on 3-0. You know, that's what happened with, we saw Pepe on swing on 3-0 and hit one about 400 feet to the warning track. But here, taking it is Shanyul.
Ball rolling around in the dirt. Looks like we'll get a new one out to the pitcher. Still Beal out there on the bump for Silver Spring. Nate Beal, righty out of the University of Pennsylvania. Rising sophomore, Robertstown, Maryland native. Decent outing for him so far today. Only run given up is that Grant Knipp solo shot earlier this half inning. And the 3-2 full chopped down to third base. Brown will take it himself. Flip to Beal to retire the Big Train. 3-1, the put out there, but Big Train gets another back on the Grant Knipp leadoff solo shot to right center field. 6-4 their lead as we head to the top of the 8th. Tyler Gallo will take it home from here on Big Train TV. New pitcher here for the top of the 8th. It's another veteran out of William & Mary, Matt Howitt, taking the bump. We'll see if he can close things out. For now, for Ben Bobek, here's Tyler Gallo.
Thanks, Ben, and we'll take it over here in the top of the 8th inning. Big Train leading at 6-4 after that Grant Knipp charge into right field. So now standing in at the dish is going to be is going to be Marcus Brown, who has struck out, flew out, and singled in this game.
Eventful day. You talked about an eventful day for Austin Gauthier, the Big Train second baseman. It's been an eventful day for Marcus Brown as well. A couple misplayed balls out at first base. And like you said, a few different outcomes here at the Dish as well.
Really just an interesting day at the ballpark for everybody. So that's taken on the outside half, and it's 2-0. Howitt coming in and throwing 2 pitches out of the strike zone, trying to get some quick outs as the setup guy today for Coach Sal Colangelo.
Possibly set up. Maybe he gets both innings down the stretch. We'll see. Never know what Coach Sal is going to pull out of that deck of his.
3-0, certainly a wild deck of cards for anybody. Crazy deck of cards, couple of aces and jokers in there. We'll see how it goes this season. But now, standing at the dish is, once again, Marcus Brown, and that's ball 4. So 4 straight balls.
Yeah, certainly don't think Coach Sal had a 4-pitch walk to start the day for Matt Howitt on the cards. And now, again, just like we talked about with Luke Baker way back in the second inning of this ball game, it's going to be an opportunity for Howitt to show that he can perhaps avoid creating any further damage on the base paths and pitch out of any trouble that may come as a result of that 4-pitch leadoff walk now issued.
So there's 5 straight balls now, and good on Grant Knipp to go out there and talk to the pitcher. I was going to remark a bit on the delivery, though. He's got the set. He gets his foot all the way out. It kind of reminds me of Adam Simber, pitcher on the Marlins. Not even close to the delivery of Adam Simber, who throws it underhand. But he gets his foot all the way out.
Just the starting spot. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I get what you're putting down, Tyler.
Sometimes there's a method to my madness, but right now.
Every now and then,
Justin Carboni is going to stand in with a runner on. The first ball, and Howitt comes set on that little funky. Looks like a side armor, but it's going to throw over the top. And there's the first strike. No cheers from the fans like you would hear at a Major League game.
Yeah, good on Grant Knipp taking that moment, getting his pitcher set, and finally gets him to put one over the plate. I do believe we have another substitution at the plate for Silver Spring. Justin Carboni, the regular designated hitter. Way ahead of myself there. I'll let you take that.
It's all right. It's all right, Ben. We're still ironing into midseason form, and it's only the first game of the season. So, Howitt just got 2 quick strikes after Knipp went out there onto the mound. He delivers and swing and a miss, so he comes back and gets the strikeout, and Knipp, I wonder what he said in that mound conference.
Just throw strikes. Something along those lines, probably. Whatever it was, like you said, it worked as he gets out number 1 there, swinging strikes.
And really, what happens in mound visits is either that you make him laugh and calm him down a little bit, or just say, just get this guy, dude. He's got nothing on you. And then he goes out there and does it. And I think that's probably what Knipp said. So now standing in is Brian Cordell as he takes, or whoever the person used to be named Brian Cordell, not Prince, obviously, but the artist formerly known as Brian Cordell stands up at the plate. Not sure who this pinch hitter is, but he takes a ball for the first pitch. And that's high, ball 2. So Knipp stepping out a little bit to try to calm down Howitt once again, who's got behind another batter. I'm assuming as the season goes along, they'll actually fill in the numbers on the card, and we'll figure out who he is when we play Silver Spring once again.
One would hope you'll have to stick around to find out who number 27 in blue is later in the season.
That little, I guess you could call it, just regular blue. I mean, it's royal blue, solid one. Instead of Kelly green, that's for the trim on the jerseys. For the Big Trainers, there's a quick strike.
I don't know if I would call it Kelly green. More of a forest.
Forest green?
Appropriate if you look out, to left field, center field, right field, behind the plate. Pretty much everywhere there's a little bit of forest.
I mean, trees almost encroaching on the field in right center. So
there's definitely a couple branches in play out there.
It'll be certainly interesting to see how the guys hit the balls into the tree, and whoever earns the title of cicada killer this year. That's usually reserved for the bugs that kill the cicadas in the summer, those wasp-looking things. But for now,
or the viral fungus.
The viral fungus, right? Exactly, as we've seen on several of these cicadas, as we've seen a couple of them.
Don't need to get into any more detail there.
No, we'll flying around the outfield. I mean, just tall trees in center field. So you'll lose a ball out there if you hit it.
3-2 fouled back.
But yeah, we've talked to a couple of guys that run the team, and they say it's pretty hard to clear that center field fence. A couple of guys have done it multiple times in a season, but I can't wait for the first time it happens this season because I know somebody's going to do it. A couple of guys, I mean, I think it was Sean Yule hit it to the top of the wall in left center. But it's a full count now in the payoff offering. Inside ball 4, so back-to-back walks for Howitt. And now there's a bit of trouble spelling, and coming up to the dish is Zach Martin.
Yeah, this is, of course, a situation of his own doing. Not two straight walks, 2 walks with a little strikeout sprinkled there in between. And he'll have to deal with Martin from the left side or the right side of the plate, the left-handed batter's box, who has been a dangerous hitter so far. A double and scored back in the 5th, struck out in his previous plate appearance.
Right, and Zach Martin right now just trying to have the sweet life and looking to remain on deck. But right now he's in the box and trying to get some runs across here with 2 runners on and try to maybe tie this game. Howitt looks the runner at second with the 1-0 offering. Delivers, swing and a miss on the high cheese, and it's 1-1.
Really good pitch there. You don't want to get too far. You threw a 4-pitch walk to start the inning. You gave up another one on a full count. You do not want to let yourself get too high into the pitch count, get too behind another batter. So good to come back and even the count at ones.
Right, and I believe Howitt, just needs to get out there and work a little bit harder to get these strikeouts. Not a returner to this, a new guy on this staff, but a William and Mary guy, and we've seen a couple of them on this team. One of them actually left in Newsom, or Garrett Newsom, no longer on the team. But right here for now is Matt Howitt on the mound, his teammate, trying to get some big outs here in the 8th. He looks back on the 2-1, delivers, swing and a foul back to the screen, off the catcher's glove, and it's 2-2. So right where you want him if you're Matt Howitt.
15 innings pitched, a 4.2 ERA, 14 strikeouts, and 4 walks down there at William & Mary for the Tribe.
So an uncharacteristically interesting outing for Howitt.
Yeah.
Not a walk guy at William & Mary, and a pretty nice ERA there of 4.2, one of the lower ones on the staff from the guys at college. Obviously, in a shorter season, more runs are going to loom larger. But here's the 2-2 delivery from Howitt. Takes it for – they're going to check, and he didn't go around. So full count now, and that's 3 consecutive 3-ball counts for Matt Howitt.
3 consecutive 3-ball counts, 2 consecutive full counts, and I'm starting to doubt my prediction that we might see Matt Howitt out for the 9th inning. Pitch count already climbing, and perhaps Sal would like to see another arm coming out of that left field pen if Howitt is able to get out of this 8th inning.
Right, and you would have loved to stick Jesse Barron in this game in the 9th inning. As his entrance music is the final countdown, which is excellent for a closer. As that's chopped to shortstop, could be 2, but not hit hard enough. The throw to first is going to get the out there. So the runners move up a base. There's 2 outs now, and standing in is going to be Darren Miller, who homered his last time up.
Yeah, I think that's as good of a play as you're going to get there from Velazquez. Again, an experienced guy in the shortstop hole. He's able to check over, see if there's any chance to try to turn 2. Definitely would not have had time, even if they were able to get that lead runner at second. But you get the out, you create a force at first, and you're able to get out of this inning with a little ground ball or a pop out now with 2 outs. But you do also have 2 runners in scoring position for a man who sent the ball way out of here on his last plate appearance.
So the curve that we talked about him with, Ben's in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. A good start to this batter for good old Matt Howitt out there on the mound. Right into a pressure cooker situation with 2 runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Hopefully he can get out of it with relative unscathedness. I don't think that's a word, but I tried it. Matt Howitt gets a ball across the dish there, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, I think that was also another curve, but this one a little bit lower. He has both fastballs, 2-seam and 4-seam, and look for that slider if he's able to get it to 2 strikes here. Potential strikeout pitch. That looked like a little bit of a two-seamer there.
Yeah, and he threw that exactly where he wanted it. Probably wasn't sitting on the 2-seamer, was Darren Miller, but there's the strike, and it's 1-2.
Yeah.
2 runners on, and with the base open, he's not going to pitch around him with 2 outs. And it's in the dirt, and it's 2-2. So Nip
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that 1-2 count was the first time that Matt Howitt was ahead in a count this half inning.
I believe so. Maybe he was ahead on the strikeout to Carboni, but it was pretty close regardless. So here is, once again, Miller, who hit that long home run last time up, swings and fouls it back, couldn't hold on to it, was Nip.
High cheese there.
That's the pitch that we've seen in this day and age of Major League Baseball become so dominant and so used by a lot of pitchers. You know, we've seen guys thrive off using that, especially late inning relievers.
Especially when paired with a slider like a guy like Matt Howitt does. It's such, when you can start that pitch, especially with the slider, when you can start that pitch high and have it break like it does there, it's devastating for a hitter. Misses with the curveball, and once again, a full count for Matt Howitt.
Pretty hefty pitch count right now for Matt Howitt in one inning, and yeah, it looks like there's a bit of motion down there in the bullpen. I don't think anyone's up just yet, but Coach Sal will likely have someone up. I believe just a bullpen catcher getting ready for some work. We'll check back in on that next inning when there's probably a new pitcher on the mound. But that 4-run inning stands as the difference here. So that is chopped down the first base line foul, and we will do it again. Not sure if the runners were in motion on the last one. Yes, they were. Whoever 27 is ran to third base, and running home, trying to run home at least, was the guy on third.
Just getting his steps in. Again, 2 outs, you're moving, crack of the bat, going as far as you can until someone tells you to stop running, and you can't run no more.
As we pass halfway through the 9 o'clock hour, Matt Howitt just trying to pass halfway through this inning, and that's looped into shallow center. That's going to fall for a base hit, and that's going to score 2 runs, and this game is tied. A 2 RBI single for Darren Miller, and he continues his torrid day at the plate with his 3rd ribby of the afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, afternoon into evening, if you will.
Miller has single-handedly dragged the T-Bolts back into this one. All 3 of the last 3 runs, rather, scored by the hand and the bat of Darren Miller. The solo shot to cut the lead to 1. Big Train, of course, answered with the Grant Nip solo long ball. And now a 2 RBI little bloop single into shallow right sends this game tied at 6.
So that's going to set up a big finish to this one. I'm not sure if they have the I won't even talk about that because we're not even close to that here in the 8th inning. But it leaves a lot to be desired for the bottom half of this inning. And coming up is going to be Sean Ewell, Thomas, and Pepe. Going to be Thomas, Pepe, and Gauthier, 3 guys that could probably get some runs in if they really tried. But no runs. There are just a lot of zeros on the round as the runner goes. Throw down. Great throw by Nip, and he's going to get him. What a throw by Grant Nip. We talked about that cannon of an arm he has, and he finally shows it off there with the big out, throwing out the runner, Darren Miller, at second base.
Yeah, and a really great way to start what could be a huge response for the Bethesda Big Train in response to losing that lead and letting this game get back to a 6-6 tie. Fantastic throw by Nip behind the plate to end the inning there, prevent any further damage. They responded way back in the 3rd inning after, the T-Bolts tied it up in the 2nd with 4 runs. They responded, Nip himself hitting that solo to bring the lead back up to 2. How are they going to respond in the bottom of the 8th and in the 9th? I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Isn't that right, Tyler?
Right. We'll be back right here on Big Train TV when the inning starts. back here at Povich Field. Tyler Gallo and Ben Bobek here, and we're going to open up the camera in the booth a little bit here as we talk about this game so far, and it's been a beautiful effort for both sides. Darren Miller, I'm going to mix up Darius Foster and Darren Miller all game, but just a great game from him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely been the star of the game for the T-Bolts. On the other side, I have to probably give it to Grant Knipp for Big Train. He had that really big hit, either him or Shanuel, who had that big 2 RBI double. But Knipp has really, like I talked about a little bit earlier, done it on both sides, both aspects of the game, offensively and defensively. Of course, with that big solo home run, which stands as the tying run right now. It also, as you saw, just got the caught stealing to end that 8th inning.
Right, and stay tuned for the Big Train TV post-game show where we'll be on talking about our players of the game. We're going to pick one from both sides and one for overall, so we'll choose between the two we pick. But for now, it's the time for the bottom of the 8th, and we'll send you over to that. So leading off now is going to be Matt Thomas, who he flew out twice to right field, or to left field, excuse me, and then had a sacrifice fly to get a run over to third. New pitcher for the T-Bolts, as there's a strike taken. Big number 35 out there on the mound for the T-Bolts. I believe that is another pitcher that they've used tonight. So continues with their changing of the guard on the mound. And that's going to be Evan Lewis, right-handers. It's a grounder to short. Easy enough play there, or second, for Hauser. And he's going to throw him out for the first out.
Yeah, Lewis, the sophomore out of Louisiana Tech. Local guy, Severna Park native. About, I'd say, 6 foot, 185. As he gives the rosin bag a nice toss out there. Get a little grip here. Definitely humid. The temperature has dropped below 80 degrees as we tick towards 10 o'clock here.
There's a strike, a swing and a miss, a big looping swing there from Rocco Pepe, who put a charge into one earlier in the game for a double, but did not go out of the stadium. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss on the breaker in the dirt, and it's 0-2.
6'2", 185 for the righty Lewis.
Right, Lewis just wants to come in and get outs, and he got one quickly. Pretty similar line scores if the Big Train get one more hit, as there's a strikeout. So Pepe down swinging, and there is 2 down. And that'll bring up Austin Gauthier, who could make up for some interesting plays in the field for a big swing here.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pop in certain individuals' bats. We've already seen it, with Knipp. We've talked about it with Shanuel as well. But I think the mentality here for Big Train has to be just move the line, get on base, work a walk, get a little single perhaps. Just get the guy behind you a chance to bat. Get as many at-bats for your teammates as you can, and something good will happen. 2 outs here, you can be a little more aggressive perhaps, but you want to make your chances count here in the bottom of the 8th.
Right, and it could come down to the last out, as there's 2 strikes now on Gauthier, who is at the dish today. He's walked, he struck out, and he singled, so he's got all 3 dots on the bingo card there, if you will, except for the home run. He's got a hit, got a walk, and a strikeout. So the 3 true outcomes, really. As that's a strikeout looking, and that'll do it for this half inning. Big Train go down 1-2-3. 2 strikeouts in the inning for the pitcher, Lewis. And we will see you after the break. Ryan Metz is going to take over on the mound here in the top of the 9th inning and looking to get this one to the bottom half for his team to win here. Ryan Metz, a returning big trainer. He's a senior at Virginia Tech. He's been here a couple times in the past over years. I like his last name as well. But that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about his appearances and time at Big Train. I mean, he's been on this roster for a couple of years now.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be a veteran guy that Coach Sal looks to for leadership, and you can understand why he goes to him out of the pen here, needing to keep things tied in the top of the 9th.
Yeah, and they know exactly what they're going to get out of Metz. He's been here for such a long time. Nip staying in the game all 9 innings at catcher. We thought Diego Barrett came in for him, but that was just a formality. So leading off this inning is going to be Bryce Beamer for the T-Bolts, and he's going to look to get something on here against a tough pitcher to handle in Ryan Metz, who, despite the ghastly ERA this season of 9 and 10 innings pitched at Virginia Tech, I'm not going to discount anything that anybody does this season in the shortened spring year for COVID.
Yeah, I think, something that I've been kind of taught as a baseball fan and a baseball watcher and now as a baseball commentator to look for, especially with guys who don't have as many inning appearances. If you're not looking at a starter, maybe don't look as much at the ERA. Look a little bit more towards the strikeout to walk ratio. 12-7 over 10 innings pitched for Metz. So that may be a little bit more concerning. Definitely on the stronger side, trying to work on his command, trying to work on his pitch sequencing and getting ahead maybe with a little bit more off speed. That's something he told us when we had the chance to catch up. But, again, 34 appearances over his career at Virginia Tech, 35 and 1/3 innings. And over his career, 32 strikeouts and 25 walks. So definitely has the opportunity to lower that ratio a little bit, but not as concerning performances perhaps as that close to double-digit ERA would perhaps indicate.
Right, and this is not Virginia Tech. This is not Virginia Tech competition as well, so his ability to settle in and just relax out there on the bump as he threw a ball to the first pitch for Bryce Beamer, as that's hammered to short or third base. Long throw to first base, going to get there in time. Great throw out there at third by Rocco Pepe, who I think that's the first time he's had a ball hit to him all day.
Yeah, it has been a quiet day at the hot corner for Rocco Pepe. Really talented defensive infielder. Likes to model his game off of his favorite MLB player, Javi Baez. And when you're a defensive-minded infielder, there's no better player to look to than El Mago. And he does a great job there, sitting back in the hole, firing off of that back leg. That is not an easy throw to make from over there at the hot corner. And Pepe does it well to get the first out of this 9th inning.
Right, and I believe we're going to have a pinch hitter here for Tommy Dunleavy, if I'm not mistaken, out there on the mound, unless he changed his helmet from the red one he was wearing earlier. Up at the plate is going to be number 2, Oxier. So Oxier's up to the plate, and Dunleavy just didn't bat. I don't know if they moved him up.
The order has been a little bit messed up. I'm pretty sure Hauser batted out of order. I don't know if it's, changes being made by the T-Bolts, double switches here and there, but not necessarily the same batting order now as it was when we started out, as this one runs up a little high and inside.
Right, and for now it's Dylan Oxier, so we'll figure out where the missing in. Standing in on deck is number 9, who I don't think is listed on their roster as well. Or no, that's Carboni. That's still Carboni. He's wearing a different number color than the other teams. So
a little darker blue.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they're skipping batters right now, but there's a strikeout to Oxier nonetheless. So 2 quick outs for Ryan Metz. Exactly what you want to see is the guy that comes in to bridge the gap to the bottom of the 9th, if you will. And now standing in is Carboni or somebody else. I'm not sure. Laced down the left field line. That's going to go into the screen and foul. Certainly doesn't look like Carboni up there at the plate. And then on deck is number 5, Dunleavy. So I'm not sure what they're doing with their batting order right now, but it's certainly not in the right place. That's Brock Hunter trying to throw a wrench into the plans of Sal Colangelo. That's in the dirt, taken for a ball, and it's 2-1. Mets just trying to get a quick out here and get the gap, bridge the gap over to the bottom half of this inning, where it's going to be Velasquez, Gump, and Nip due up. And wouldn't you love to see another home run from Nip in the bottom half, Ben?
Yeah, I think Coach Sal would be a little bit more focused on just getting that batting order turned over. You know, like I said, in the bottom of the 8th, your mentality can't be to win the game with one swing of the bat. Your mentality has to be get ducks on the pond, keep the the order moving, and they'll get a chance to do so here as we get the 3rd out of the inning, and we'll head to the bottom of the 9th.
In what is perhaps the craziest turn of events of today, Tommy Dunleavy is actually on the mound right now, Ben.
That certainly explains why he wasn't able to come to the plate to hit in the top of the 9th. Hey, Tyler.
Right, yeah. I mean, we thought they were batting out of order, but they were just making sure they could get Dunleavy into the game. He probably was out in the pen warming up for his appearance in this game, and the best he can do here is send it to extra innings. And he's going to look to do exactly that, but against some tough customers at the plate. It's going to be Kyle Velasquez, Brady Gump, and Grant Nip due up at the dish.
Yeah, Dunleavy, long right-hander, of course, coming in from the outfield. Started the game in left field. Looks like he'll close this one out on the bump. Is listed as an outfielder, not necessarily listed as a pitcher. But, hey, we've seen it with Jack Cohn. Hasn't made an appearance on the mound yet. We know he will potentially at some point if that injury heals right this summer. But Dunleavy, a 6'2", 195 rising junior at East Stroudsburg, Bushkill, PA native, pitching from the far right side of that rubber. Pretty long, good-looking delivery for the outfielder.
Right, and that'll bring up Kyle Velasquez out of St. Mary's. Velasquez has had a rough day at the plate, struck out twice and flew out to left.
Ooh.
Way inside, almost at his head, and that would have made a rough day even rougher to hit him in the head for Velasquez, but it's just a very dangerous ball.
Just trying to make sure Velasquez is awake. It's been a long game.
It has been.
Doing him a favor.
We've been here upwards of 6 hours now as it gets to the 10 o'clock hour. Grounded to short, going to be a tough play. A long throw way high over the head. That's going to go off the wall and carry him back towards the infield. So Velasquez is aboard on the throwing error from short.
As we said before, just a bit high.
Yeah, that ball almost, I mean, if there was not netting there, that would have gone into the stands and been an extra base for Velasquez.
That might have gone over the first base grandstand. That one had some air under it.
It did. He was making his best Michael Jordan impression, his airness out there as Brady Gump stepped up to the plate. Right now, Brady Gump, he's grounded out twice and he struck out. So he's looking for that big knock here to get his boys on the board.
I was just going to say, maybe Oxier's, somebody needs to check whether or not he's wearing an eye patch because he sailed that one.
We will bring you relentless puns this season, that's for sure. So that's inside for a ball, and it's 1-0. So the error from shortstop, just another one from shortstop today. We've seen a couple of them.
Velasquez on the other end.
Yeah, so it's just been a rough day for shortstops. But Velasquez reaches anyways. He's got that, and he's going to check on him at first. Close play, but he's safe.
Velasquez, we've mentioned him a couple times, will be a rising senior out at St. Mary's of California. We'll celebrate his birthday in a few weeks' time, June 24th. Ayala High School communications major just gets back for that one. 6 for 8 on stolen bases this year, so you know he can move. 40 games started for St. Mary's. 8 doubles, 9 RBIs, 18 runs, 35 hits, a .265 batting average.
Probably one of the better pure hitters we'll see in this lineup. That's grounded to third. A nice cutoff by third baseman, and it goes wide, and it's going to go into right field. Velasquez to third, and to second goes, and that's going to get away, and that's going to go right to the third baseman's glove. Almost a comedy of errors. I'm not sure how to score that at all.
I thought the Little League game was tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's right. I thought the Little Leaguers were in the stands, not out on the field. Well, that was almost a just, I guess, Sandlot-esque walk-off there. But now it's second and third with nobody out, and another error, back-to-back errors actually, which these are going to rear their ugly head. There's no doubt about it. 2 outs or less than – there's no outs whatsoever, and that's going to bring up Grant Knipp. And he could send him home happy with one swing of the bat.
Yeah, if you're Big Train, you cannot imagine a better start to this bottom of the 9th inning. 2 runners on, nobody out, and nobody warming up in the right field pen for the T-Bolts. Looks like this game is going to be Tommy Dunleavy's hell or high water.
Yeah, this is going to be his to lose. This is his inning as nobody's up behind him. Grant Knipp sent a home run over the outfield fence over in right center, which he did so often in batting practice yesterday and probably today as well. We weren't out there for batting practice today, but we'll have to see what he does here. Yeah, we had a pregame show to record that never aired. And
you'll see it later.
You'll see it later. We'll put it in post. Edit it in post, as they say, as Knipp takes the first pitch outside, way outside. That wasn't going to be a strike. That was a ball from the word go.
Infield all the way in on the very edge of that infield grass, ready to shoot 4 on any play, on any ball in front of them. Grant Knipp would like to just poke one over and send the fans here at Povich Field home happy.
Dunleavy steps off and tries to collect his thoughts a little bit here against a very tough customer in Grant Knipp. And what a way for the rising sophomore from Alabama to ingrain himself into the Big Strain faithful with a walk-off here if he can do it. Here's the pitch from from Dunleavy's that's fouled way back and out of play.
And by the way, just to note, the way that last sequence would be scored after Velasquez advances on the error, the throwing error by the shortstop, Brady Gump would have reached on the fielder's choice and then advanced to second on the error as well.
So a wild scorer box there for anybody scoring at home or in the stands, and us up here in the booth. Dunleavy on the drawn-in infield. You can shoot that up the middle, Grant Knipp, as that is fouled off, and it's going to be 1 and 2. But it's a wide open space up the middle, so unless it hits...
I mean, that's a tough spot, I think, for a righty hitter to reach, that kind of second base hole. You can see where the second baseman is playing just to the right of that big pole holding up the backstop here behind home plate. Almost, basically where a deep second baseman would play, but all the way on the infield grass. So, again, that space is going to kind of be covered by where the pitcher is.
Right.
So that's not necessarily a bigger gap. I think what Knipp needs to get worried about is getting a little air under it and getting it over the heads of the infielder and in front of the outfield.
Right. Great job by Beamer to block that ball in the dirt.
Yeah.
Don't want to lose that way, but we've seen 2 errors in this inning, so it wouldn't put it past him for that to happen. So thus far in the game, 6-8-4 for the T-Bolts and 6-7-2 on the line score for the Big Train. So not the greatest defensive afternoon and evening for these guys, but Dunleavy now just has to get this out. The 2-2 offering outside ball 3, and maybe they're pitching around him to try to get the double play on a little chopper here if they want to load the bases for Darius Foster, but that's not.
That's exactly what I was
going to say. They got a nose up.
I don't think, if you're the coaches down in the T-Bolts dugout, I don't think you have any intention of trying to turn this roster over, turn this batting order over on purpose.
And Dunleavy delivers. That is
Ooh.
fouled back off the
Ooh.
post. And that's the goalie's best friend, but not in this situation as we're playing baseball and not on ice.
Have you given your iron a kiss today? Is that a hockey term? That sounds like a hockey term.
Well, the posts are the goalie's best friend. That's really what it is. And sometimes they'll tap both of them and they'll congratulate it for making the save that the goalie didn't make. But for now, Grant Knipp, the goalie of baseball in catcher, in the catcher position. So Dunleavy back up against the wall here, second and third. Nobody out, and the pitch fouled back once again. So that's going to make it a full count offering once again. And really just Dunleavy trying to get that out in any way possible. It's a tough one. And Knipp, who homered earlier, he's now in a spot where one swing could win it for Bethesda.
This is a good spot to be in as the batter. You've got, a guy who probably isn't the most experienced pitcher on the mound. You're working him. You're tiring him out. And most importantly, you've seen every pitch he's got.
So that's chopped to short. The throw coming home. It's going to be out at the plate. Oh, man. Great heads-up play by the shortstop on that one. Dylan Oxier's no longer there. Whoever the new player is at shortstop, a great heads-up throw. Big 1-8 out there at shortstop, and makes the play. It makes exactly the play they wanted out there.
Yeah, I think, that's a tough spot for the Big Train offense. Not the hit you'd want. But, once kind of Velazquez, or I guess the biggest credit would be to Brady Gump, right? The second that ball left the bat, he stayed at second, didn't try to create any force out at third. And once that ball went home to the plate to get Velazquez sliding in, then he takes third base and sets up. Still a pretty good situation here for Big Train with runners on the corner and still only one out.
And who else would you want up in this situation other than Darius Foster, who is 2 for 3 with a strikeout and a fly out today. And he's already endeared himself to Big Train faithful here, but could further burnish his credentials with one swing of the bat here. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. That's not the swing of the bat he wanted. The swing of the bat he was looking for, and it's 0-1.
Yeah, we mentioned that Matt Thomas highlight before of him hitting that 3-run home run back in the 2019 championship game. The man who would score what would turn out to be the winning run in that game, this man at the plate right here, Darius Foster, came up with plenty of emotion after sliding into home, and he looks to create a similar memory here today.
Outside, on that half of the plate, Dunleavy has to work really hard for this out. Back-to-back pressure situations for the relievers. Mets didn't really have any pressure, but Howitt did. And Dunleavy coming into this game, just trying to get outs. And he got that quick out, a short, good heads-up play by the shortstop. He'll step off once again.
Yeah, this inning is far from over.
Yeah, there's a lot to dissect from this inning that's happened. 2 errors, the throw to home, not a good defensive play there as Foster takes inside, and it's 2-1.
About that.
So Foster trying to drive in that winning run from third base. It's Gumpf on third as he swings and misses, and it's 2-2. So first base right now is Grant Knipp. Third base right now is Brady Gumpf, who had that error, and Dunleavy on the mound facing off against Darius Foster, one of the better hitters in this lineup, and that's why he's at the top. He's the prototypical leadoff guy. Guy's got a lot of speed. He chokes up on the bat here with 2 strikes.
254 career hitter at San Francisco by way of Oregon State.
That's line to short. Going to be a tough play. The throw to second's going to get the force, but that's not going to do anything for the runner at first base, and the Big Train have won it. Ladies and gentlemen, Darius Foster, the walk-off fielder's choice. The Big Train win it 7-6. The burners were turned on there for Darius Foster as he gets in, and Gumpf comes home, ambles home with the winning run. The Big Train win their first exhibition game of the season, the first of what should be many wins this season for the Bethesda Big Train.
Yeah, really almost gritty performance for the Big Train today. Not easy to come out, especially for all of these players after having everything that they've been through throughout their college seasons, get a few weeks off, and then come and have to start this Big Train season. Look, these players showed up here yesterday morning. You know, the first time they gathered together as a team was yesterday morning at around 9 a.m. They didn't get much practice in. And, you know, this is part of the Ripken Summer League experience, is figuring things out on the fly. And games like these are the perfect example of what that's going to look like, especially straight out of the gates like it was today. But I, you know, talked earlier about how they were going to respond, and they responded by doing exactly what I said they needed to do. Move the line, get runners on base, create advantageous situations, and then eventually take advantage of them, which is what Darius Foster just did with a perfect poke up the left side of the infield to bring home the winning run.
Right, and stay tuned. The final line score here, 6-8-4 for the T-Bolts and 7-7-2 for the Big Train. Stay tuned shortly for the Big Train TV post-game show. We'll be right with you in about 2 minutes. Well, it certainly was an interesting game on both sides for the Bethesda Big Train and the Silver Spring Tacoma T-Bolts. Tyler Gallo and Ben Bobek here today for the Bethesda Big Train postgame show. No sponsor for that yet, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And Ben, while it was a comedy of errors in this game, 6 errors total and 2 in the last inning that led to that walk-off hit, what did you see from both sides today?
Yeah, I saw a lot of kinks that need to be ironed out as the season go, and I think both coaches, Brock Hunter on the near sideline here for Silver Spring Tacoma, and of course the Hall of Famer Coach Sal down the third baseline for Big Train, will have a lot to work on along with their respective coaching staffs as this summer progresses. But I think both are going to be pretty pleased with the overall competitiveness and some of the individual things that they did see from their teams tonight. It's tough, I think, especially for a pitching staff. To come in, again, there's not really any order. I don't think anybody is expecting pitchers in this league to go 5 or 6 innings every game, but I think you're going to see some pitchers, especially once we get to the regular season, actually do go more than at least 2, which I think was the most pitched by any pitcher from either team. So I think, obviously the goal for both coaches was to get as many players appearances on the field tonight as they could, get as many arms out of the bullpen as they could, and one of them is going to go home a little bit happier because they were able to get the win as well. A great win for Big Train 7-6.
Right, it's really just whoever struck last in this game. 11 different pitchers used in this one. No more than 2 innings. Willits and Baker both went 2 innings for both sides, and I think Carbajal also went 2 innings as well. But yeah, just a great game altogether that gave something for the fans to watch for the first time in 2 years, and something special, a walk-off fielder's choice for Darius Foster, the play that, was going to be tough to throw him out either way. But yeah, really just a great game altogether to watch, and they'll play the BCC Little Train tomorrow, which should be a pretty interesting game, won't you think, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. Another chance for this coaching staff to understand what they have at their disposal. I think I was maybe a little bit surprised, if anything, by how much we saw the same, outside of pitching staff, we didn't see a lot of substitutions on the field in the defense and the offense. A couple times they switched the outfield around a little bit, but, it was pretty much the same 8 or 9 guys up to the plate every time. And so I'm interested to see, who gets the appearances tomorrow, who gets the at-bats tomorrow, and, what they can do with those. As you see our final line score presented by Bethesda Magazine, it's going to be interesting to see, like I said, kind of what changes Coach Sal is going to make between tonight and tomorrow when the Big Train welcome the BCC Little Train to Povich Field for your second and final exhibition game before we get the regular season started Monday night up in Gaithersburg.
That's right, and they'll actually have one more exhibition game later in the summer. That's going to be really fun with the Israeli national team. That's going to be a fun telecast to do. But once again, it was a good game. 7-6 your final score, walk-off fielder's choice by Darius Foster. For Tyler Gallo